Head over to thebestsongever.com and purchase our new hit, Together Again. It is a cover of Smokey Mike and the God King. That's Jeremy Boring and Michael Knowles. And with your help, we will smash our way onto the Billboard charts. Let's jump to this next story from the Post Millennial. California moves to explore every legal option to get Trump off the 2024 ballot by December 28th. Guys, okay, Michael, I'm going on vacation, right? We wrap Friday, and then I'm gone. We got to get 1 week out of the year, and they're trying to make Trump kicked off the ballot during my vacation. What am I going to do?
They knew you were leaving, and they're like, this is our time.
But hold on. Here's something else that's interesting, and there's something to think about. I don't think Gavin Newsom is dumb. I think he is strategic in many ways. There's zero chance Trump wins California. So this is clearly them building steps for the future, because he's not at all concerned Trump is going to get California's electoral
But that's
votes.
not what it's about. It's about 10 million Republican votes in California that count towards Trump's general election.
Yes.
And so what's going to happen is Donald Trump will win the Electoral College with 50 million to Joe Biden or whoever is 70 million. Then the Democrats will come out screaming, being like, ladies and gentlemen, the man who is currently given the nuclear football does not represent this country.
They say that now with the Senate.
Of course.
Why? It's not fair that West Virginia has the same number of senators as California. Well, it actually is fair. They each have equal numbers.
Because they're states.
That's why they did it that way.
That was the purpose.
That's literally the point.
The point of it was...
As they know.
Yep. So I think...
You know what it is? I'm sorry, what's one more thing, Tim? The thing about free speech is great if people are arguing in good faith. But there's a difference between someone who's just a leftist has progressive views, and there's lots of people, and there's many strong arguments for progressivism. Things like this that are being done on political government level are not being done in good faith. That's the difference.
This is the bigger issue with getting Trump's name off the ballot. Removing him from the primaries on Super Tuesday. Yeah, they don't think Trump will win a general election. They would strip him of popular vote totals.
Yes.
But more importantly, they removed Trump from the ballot before the primary. Nikki Haley is the nominee.
But also, they can this say, look, if you're a member of the NRA, you're an insurrectionist. You can't run for office.
Yeah.
It's just that easy.
I just don't see any future that doesn't involve, if it's not a civil war, it's a totalitarian revolution of some sort. It's a Bolshevik revolution.
I strongly disagree that those are the only two things on the table.
I'm not saying only.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Okay.
I'm saying, like, there is no return to normalcy.
But here, it was never normal. We were just brainwashed to thinking it was normal.
I understand that, but we had a period. What I mean is, for those of us between the ages of, let's just say 20 and 40, we had a system that is gone.
Yes,
and what we are going into will be 100 times more extreme and more tumultuous than anything we've experienced.
I agree with that completely. Yeah. And that's a good thing. I think that's necessary. I think you need the enema to get rid of the poop.
Yeah, it could be a short-term, relatively short-term bout of chaos.
No, I don't think short-term.
Well, you got to define. It could be 15 years.
That's pretty long-term.
That would be short-term, in my opinion.
Well, the Civil War is only 4.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm talking like real global.
The American Revolution was 20. Is that long-term?
Transformation
was 20?
20. The American Revolutionary period was 20 years. Yeah.
The period, not the whole war.
But the war, I think the idea of the Revolutionary War is less meaningful than the Revolutionary period. Like the Boston.
Yes, that's fair.
The Boston Tea Party, like redcoats were killing people before there was a war.
Yes, that's fair.
So we talk about the war, but the Revolutionary period was 20 years. And the first battle of the Revolutionary War took place a year and a few months before the signing of the Declaration of Independence. Mm-hmm. It's funny that a lot of people think the signing of the Declaration started the revolution. It's like,
it's because they get it
was like 10 years later.
Right, but they get it in history textbook, and I'm not going to fault them for this, where it's all stacked on top of each other. It's very hard to conceptualize.
The narrative makes more sense that way.
That's sort of true. History is condensed, but no, I think the reality is people just don't read history. They hear, what do we know? The holiday, July 4th. Why? Right. Because in 1776, they signed the Declaration of Independence. Do you know what the actual date of the signing was?
The what? The Declaration of Independence?
Yeah.
No, what?
The 2nd.
Was it?
Yeah. And then, or it may have actually been before that. I believe it was the 2nd. And then it took
2 days to get everyone to sign it.
I don't even know. No, I think it was signed on the 2nd, and then it was not in circulation until the 4th. And publicly known until the 4th.
Yeah, but
I could be wrong, but something like that.
If you read books, you would think that there's only 2 genders, and no scientist thinks this anymore.
Not the ones that are allowed to practice.
Sorry, I just want to mess with the chat room.
So, but anyway, back to what's going on with California. Let me ask you, if Trump is removed from these ballots, Nikki Haley?
There is. I don't think Trump getting removed from the ballots, then it's just like, well, we're just going to go ahead with the election, and it's whatever Plan B is for the Republicans. That's not how it works. I think things are going to get very, very ugly, very, very quickly. I will be paying Roseanne in that circumstance. I think we might have. I don't know what it would look like.
We got to get into this, but you may have to pay her.
We're going to talk about that.
Well, we'll get into that.
Looking for a way
for
out
those
of this.
For those that aren't familiar, Roseanne said on this show, how long ago was that? Was a few months ago?
March, I
Wow,
think.
long time ago. Roseanne said it. Wow, I can't believe how long it's been.
I think so.
Yeah, Roseanne said that she didn't think there'd be an election.
There are two bets we made.
That's right. Military tribunals.
Everyone remembers the second bet. They're all forgetting the first bet.
I think you won the first one.
Yeah, no shit. No.
She said, what did she say?
She said there'll be mass arrests by the end of the year.
Yeah, that's not happening.
I don't know.
But hold on.
We have a couple, like a week left, right?
No, hold on. She said Trump there'll be military tribunals. And I'm like, you're saying Trump will have people arrested? Like, or the Democrats are going to arrest people?
I'll take either. If either case, I'll give her $1,000. If the Democrats have mass arrests, she wins. Fine. That's true too. In the next week.
Okay, well, that's not 0%.
That's not zero. It's not zero. No. It's not zero. I'm not saying it's zero.
But anyway.
Someone also bet me that Trump, and my buddy who's a failed podcaster, Tom Woods, someone on Twitter bet me $500 that Trump would be reinstated in the White House by January 1st, 2024. Not 2025, meaning they would overturn the 2020 election and have Trump in the White House by 2024. Now, there's a non-zero chance that'll happen next week, but I'm looking.
No, that's zero. Right. The idea that Democrats would arrest people, they've already arrested Trump and Trump's legal team and his lawyers and other people involved. So the idea that the Democrats would stage mass arrests is maybe 0.05.
Yeah, that's fair.
But the idea that Trump is reinstated is okay, fine. It's in the realm of physical reality. But we're talking 0.00000000001%.
Right. It would be more likely that the Secretary of Commerce becomes president. Like everyone else gets knocked off.
Yeah, it'd be more likely that the plot of Designated Survivor happens line for line.
Yeah,
in reality.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
I just, come on. No.
I like that show, but it went off the rails so quickly.
Oh, I don't know. I didn't watch it. I just know the general premise. Everybody dies but him, and they're like, your president. He's like, why?
It's like King Ralph.
You're 200th in line, so you're in charge.
Because you're here.
It's well, you're here. I guess that makes it you, and here we go. So what do you think? You think that if California actually makes the move as well?
They are making the move.
I know, right. But I'm saying
But what do they make? What moves have they taken? Did Gavin just call it, or
no?
The
lieutenant governor said Trump should be removed for the same reason.
Okay.
And it was really funny because she said, everyone knows you have to be 40 years old and cannot have staged an insurrection or whatever. And everyone's like, neither of those are true.
Yeah.
The fascinating thing about Colorado's ruling, the Supreme Court of Colorado, is that the third Article 3 of the 14th Amendment actually does not include the president. And they even said it in their ruling. They said it's just self-evident. That's not how the law works. You don't get to be well, the law doesn't say we can arrest you, but we think they intended that. It's pretty obvious, right? You're under arrest.
The law is whatever those in power decide the law is.
Yes.
As people are learning. Steve Deese is really good about this. He goes, this has always been, I was shocked that someone who's a conservative and not an anarchist can be like, this is a country of will and not laws, and it always has been.
Absolutely.
That's the anarchist perspective.
Yeah, the idea that free speech existed in this country at any point is laughable.
The Sedition Act, President Adams, we're arresting journalists for criticizing the government.
And not just that. We had obscenity laws. George Carlin got arrested for swearing.
Yes.
So if you want to make arguments about the limits of free speech, and it's been better than it's been in a long time.
And it's not a function of the Constitution, which has not changed. It's been a function of the culture, which is always going to be more important than any piece of paper.
That's why we make songs.
Yes.
That's why we make skate videos. That's why it's so important what the Daily Wire is doing. And a lot of people I hear will say things like, "Oh, I want to get involved in the fight, so I'm going to do a podcast." And I'm like, "Well, I got to be honest. We probably got too many of those. Some may be better than others, but what we need is music, video games, and TV shows, movies, comedy."
You know why it's important? Because there has to be as little or no social cost for opting out. Yeah. If you have alternatives where I can play video games, like Gamergate, I just want to play video games, where I can play video games and get action figures and get laid and watch programs and not be involved with their whole edifice, then we've won.
Yeah.
That's the plan, man.
And I think it's happening. Don't you think it's happening more and more?
I agree. I think with the major boycotts we saw of this year, We are with Disney's failures.
Do you not think? Hold on, let me interrupt. Do you not think it's hilarious? I mean, that John Fetterman handed over a case of Bud Light to whoever it was. Was that not funny?
Well, what do you think about the Bud Light thing right now?
What's happening now?
Well, so right now, Kid Rock has said it's over. He said we gave him a black eye. It's what they deserved. I think we're good. Joe Rogan laughed, said it was stupid, and then bought several cases of Bud Light out and drank them with some comedians, like Shane Gillis, I think. They had posted a photo of it. And Dana White says they're aligned with you more than you realize, and everyone who believes in this country should go out and buy Bud Light. Matt Walsh has come out and said, no, the boycott is still on. Hold the line.
I don't understand the point of pulling a boycott. Let's take something out of this. Let's a little unpolitical way. Do you have any siblings, Ian?
Yeah, 2.
Brother or sister?
2 brothers.
Okay, let's suppose I'm on a podcast and I say an insulting thing about your brother as a dumb joke. And you come to me and go, you shouldn't have said that, hurt his feelings. And I felt bad about it. And I'd be like, you know what? That was screwed up. I'm sorry. I would apologize to you. I would ask your brother for an apology, and I'd be like, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to keep his name out of my mouth for the future because I don't want to hurt his feelings. He didn't deserve that. In that case, you would accept my apology because you know what? I made a stupid joke. I didn't mean it. Harm was done, and it was resolved. Maybe I'd give him like say, hey, buy beer on my behalf, right? To forgive someone, they have to apologize and acknowledge what they did wrong and own it.
Maybe. Let me give you another scenario.
In my opinion.
Do you have any siblings?
Yes. A sister.
Sister.
But she's terrible.
Okay, so Ian praises your sister.
That's pretty. You got out there pretty creative.
What have I done?
No. Okay, let's for real.
No.
So you insult, Ian's brother.
Yeah.
And Ian says, "Hey, you shouldn't have done that. That was mean, and you shouldn't say it." So you go, "Okay, give your brother $100 on me and $100 to you. We'll be done with it." Should he say okay, or should he be like, "No, I don't want your money. I want your apology"?
I think it depends on our relationship. If he could tell I really do feel bad, and also I'm giving you just go buy dinner on me, then that's different. But if he's
no
just
apology,
like,
you just say you just privately say, "Okay, well, how about I give you $100 and we'll
I
call
wouldn't
it
take
square."
that apology. My integrity's not worth $100. I'd be like, keep your money, and you don't have to say anything about my brother. But I know who you are now.
And the apology acknowledges that there was wrong done.
Yes, that's
right?
the thing. You have to be explicit.
Cash is saying, please stop talking about this.
Go away. I'm paying
So
you to go away.
here's my concern right now.
Let's ask Ian what he thinks. It was your brother.
Outside of the brother analogy, I understand your point. The concern I have with the Bud Light thing is you've lost Joe Rogan, you've lost Kid Rock, you've lost Dana White, and we have seen some political gains. I don't really care about platitudes. So what have we seen? $100 million goes to UFC. You end up with people like Sean Strickland coming out saying, I'll just tell you what he said. He said that trans people should not be accepted by what they're going through should not be accepted by society.
I don't like that either.
But the point with he said a bunch of things that like you can't say on YouTube, and he said sponsored by Bud Light. He also just tweeted that January 6th is the most patriotic thing that this country has done in a long time.
That's better.
This is a guy who was saying, "Thank you, Bud Light, for sponsoring my speech and allowing me to say this." I view that as on par with what they did with Dylan Mulvaney. So it's sort of a moot, neutralizing force in a certain degree. But my bigger concern is if the catalyzing forces of the boycott have basically bowed out, that means you've lost a few generals.
Sure.
What's going to happen is come April, the wraparound for year-to-year profits is going to hit. Bud Light's going to report earnings. They're going to see a net positive gain because it's year over year. Their stock has already recovered. They're going to declare victory over the boycott. So what I'm saying is either you join with the likes of Joe Rogan and Kid Rock, Dana White and Sean Strickland and say, ha ha ha, we've won, declare victory over your enemies. Or if you do want to maintain the boycott and double down, you need an advancing strategy. How are you going to get them to apologize? I can't remember who was tweeting about this. Who was tweeting about this? They said we would need to see, I think it might have been James Lindsay, testimony before Congress as to how this happened. Have Republicans call them in and say, what was this that caused damage to the shareholders? Victory in lawsuits. But the idea that we simply just don't do anything, and that's what a boycott is. We don't buy their product and we just go on with our lives, I think is not an option. So there's been a divide in this. Many people saying, hold the line, keep the boycott up. And I say, okay, what's the next plan? What's the next move? Because if you do nothing, they'll take back the battlefield.
I agree broadly speaking, but I'm just going to make one point. I know people are going to melt down. I don't think what Bud Light did is as bad as what some of these other companies are doing. Like when you're talking, okay, it's a trans influencer. We made a custom bottle can for Dylan Mulvaney. Great, that's one thing.
Well, that wasn't the issue.
Well, hold on, just one more thing. When you have things like Target with like tucking panties for kids, like that's
But Target's so much harder for people to maintain a boycott for.
That also did not happen.
What happened then? Please.
The
educate
tucking
me.
was for adults.
Okay.
Still, the concern is that they have all of this stuff front and center and available for
Yeah.
children to see.
I accept
And
you're
they
correct.
had gender neutral swimwear.
Yes.
For
The tucking stuff was
I
adult.
apologize to Target. That's a bad example. I'm saying is
You still don't have to apologize for them.
no,
We'll
but
just make sure we're
I want to be clear. I want to speak correctly, so I don't
Yeah.
want to be like Target. You know, I'm glad that you corrected me. What I'm saying is, there's other organizations that do things that are far more malevolent than take someone who's already an influencer and make them. It's like a one-off thing.
And I got to correct you on Bud Light. It wasn't that Dylan Mulvaney got a can. It's that Dylan Mulvaney was hired and paid what is the report is $180,000 to promote Bud Light and a contest they were doing. I'm just saying it's important because
I'm saying it's people think that you could go to Walmart and get a Dylan Mulvaney can. You could not have done that. It was a custom can just for Dylan.
but that's not what anyone's mad about. The corporate press claimed that was the cause of the boycott. It was not. The cause of the boycott was that Dylan Mulvaney grabbed a stack of Bud Light, put them on a table and said, everyone buy Bud Light and use this hashtag to win a contest, hashtag whatever, March Madness or something, was paid, according to some reports, $180,000, and Dylan Mulvaney's audience is children. So people were like, why are they promoting this gender ideology stuff and why are they promoting it to children? The media then immediately ran out and said, Bud Light gave a custom can to one person and the right lost their mind to obfuscate and lie about what happened.
Fair. My point is, there are many such cases where they are targeting children not via somebody, but directly.
Oh, yeah.
And like when you have these publishers who are publishing these books that have pornographic content for kids, they are, to me, are much more malevolent than some Dylan Mulvaney thing.
There's a big story right now.
That's all I'm saying.
The Daily Wire's tweeting about it, and Wokeness tweeted it. It's Coco Melon, is that what it's called? Where it's an interracial gay couple singing to their son who's dancing in girls' clothing. And so, Daily Wire, of course, saying this is why we made Bent Key. We'll talk about that in the members only show so we can get more in depth because I do want to get back to the politics that's going on.
Can I say one more thing? It's also important in terms of boycotts, things like this, to pick your battles. Because it's much more useful to take down someone who is both much more evil and who you can win than someone where it's just like water for ducks back.
My view on Bud Light is,
and I don't understand how anyone drinks Bud Light to begin with. Maybe it's because I'm a snob.
And I'm not going to buy it. When we don't even buy sodas. We buy the Spin Drafts because it's like 17 calories, fruit juice.
Yeah,
and
I've got my
soda.
Dr. Pepper Zero.
That's disgusting.
It's my primary method of hydration. I'm not kidding at all. My pee is jet black.
Well, thanks for watching this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. Hang out with us live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. and become a member over at timcast.com for uncensored, members-only shows exclusive. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.